Yes, sir.
Uh,
The mic.
I that's more of a statement comments, but getting back to law enforcement being trained to de-escalate a situation, and the thing is that from my experience of my observation, a lot of officers are unknowingly emotionally constipated and got mental illnesses, and that's why they don't even know how to properly handle a situation. Not to say that you don't, no, but I mean, I'm being for real, because you have some officers that, like, I got 5 family members, Capitol Hill, PG, DC, and Park, or 4, and there are good people, bad people. You got good cops, good bad cops, good teachers, bad teachers. It doesn't matter. But I think that when it comes to training officers, that they need to be closely looked at to see where they are inside, to have them properly treated, if you will, so that they can know how to treat a situation.
Yes. All right. So now we're about to talk about something real that's not talked about. And I'm glad you brought it up because I don't know the statistic, but I will say this. Law enforcement officers, a lot of them are Army veterans. A lot of them are Army veterans. I'm saying it again, a lot of them are Army veterans. We just had 2 wars in, so it's cool. Let's hire vets first. So if you take a vet like me who spent 2 years in Iraq and I come home and then 2 weeks later I got a job, remember, I just left Iraq. We're going to hire vets first because that's important. But there's no way in the world that I could have left a war zone where people dying every day. And I'm coming from that situation in the stream to come home to be a parent, to start over the transition. So I say all of this to say that if a lot of law enforcement officers are prior military and prior military guys came from the war, a lot of these guys are left untreated. And then you give these guys a gun. So yes, that is something that needs to be handled in the vetting. And it goes back to the first thing I said about people not talking about their mental health because of they're afraid of the job or being discriminated. So that's why we have to stomp out the stigma so we can actually talk about that. Because like I said, in the Army, when I was in Iraq and someone died, we cleaned out their little locker and then we went back to work. We didn't have time to cry. So for me, myself, I had mental health issues coming out, but I had a gun, I had a family, I had everything. But what got me through was, first, I had a church background. Everybody don't have that. I have a strong family background, supportive wife. I had the VA, and I went, and I admitted that I had an issue, and I went through the process. So I say all that to say that you don't have to worry about people like me. It's all those other ones that are out there. So that's one part about veterans that are there. And the second thing is that law enforcement officers are held to a high standard. First, we're supposed to tell the truth at all times. Secondly, we have to do everything right. Our reports have to be right. We have to speak the truth. We have to do everything right. We can't do no wrong. We're held to a higher standard. You know how much stress that is? See, if you mess up a hamburger or you misdiagnose a patient, they might get the wrong medication, right? But if I wrongfully arrest you and I pick the wrong person, not only did I ruin your day, I probably ruined your life because now you have an arrest record and you were the wrong person. I can ruin your life by arresting you. And that is a lot of power for one person, even if you're innocent. So I say that we do need to have better programs for officers, and it's going to start with the stigma because that is what's keeping officers from coming forward because we're supposed to be tough. But I think that being tough is actually being weak because you're not strong enough to talk about what's really going on. I talked about the mask that you see behind every smile is a frown. And law enforcement officers have to be professional at all times. You don't know that an officer just worked 2 shifts or been just their 5th day working a long shift. And now they get with you, you had a long day, and you get upset because they have a crappy attitude because they've been working all night and now they got to deal with you. But guess what? You just like, give me my ticket and let me go. And now they want to pull you out of the car because they tired and they can't focus because they've been working too long. So it is a long-standing issue, especially in the African-American community and people of color. And I think that is something that we have to talk about more. And as sheriff, I want to make sure that we talk about this all the time, that we don't wait till an incident happens before we have to start making some new program. We know what the problems are. Let's just address them. And we just have to make a safe space for officers to speak, because the last thing I'll say about this is me as being an officer. I was military police for 5 years, and I've been a deputy sheriff for almost 13. And the job is a service job, customer service. Even if I'm giving you a subpoena, it's a service. It's customer service. I work for the public. I work for you. I'm not there for me, and I'm getting paid. It's not volunteer work. So there's a reasonable expectation of good service from me. And when I do bad service, and you guys complain, there needs to be a mechanism of accountability towards officers who do not exert professionalism at all times, because we are trained to de-escalate. We have rules of engagement, and we need to follow those at all times. And just because someone curses at us doesn't mean we can arrest them. We need to, have tough skin, and you do. But again, I say, if you've been doing it so long and you have untreated mental illness, you're going to snap, because pressure breaks pipes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come to the IEP meeting, you have my full attention, and we're there to solve a problem, no matter how long it takes, because it takes a long time sometimes.
It does.
But
Yeah.
there's another question over
Sure.
there.
Thank you. I was going to comment on what Josh was saying about special education and IEP, and how in college and in high school the SRO has to know where the classrooms are. Well, now they're starting to. My youngest son is 23. I work for Fairfax County Public Schools, and I have a student in Fairfax County Public Schools, and my 3 older kids also were in Fairfax County Public Schools. And I know at Fairfax County Schools, and also we lived in Savannah, Georgia, what they're trying to do now is not so make the classes, all classes are now inclusive. So you don't have kids in a special ed room necessarily. They're in every classroom now. And you have teacher team taught classrooms where you have sometimes, not every class and not every, they have the blue days, green days, or whatever, A days, B days, and sometimes on A days or green days or whatever, you may have a teacher there. Some classrooms are team taught classrooms, some are not. And even the ones that are not team taught, because my youngest son, he has severe dyslexia. And in Georgia, they don't recognize dyslexia. So where we were here in Fairfax County, children with dyslexia or other disorders that are not deemed necessarily as a disability per se, because dyslexia is only recognized in so many states in the United States as a disability. And with when I took him to a specialist, they said that only certain schools in certain counties recognize dyslexia. You have to go to a specialist and have dyslexia to a behavioral specialist will diagnose the dyslexia. Even though dyslexia deals with your decoding and your filing issues. So in saying that, having an SRO know where the classrooms are, it may be in every classroom in the school, so it wouldn't help.